Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one! Another one! Another one!
Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three in. He hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. It is Monday. Get the week started off right. Hopefully, a lot less precipitation than last week. Hello, Dave jumping on. Mike's jumping on. Appreciate that. Hope you guys had a great weekend, ready for a good week. Lots of non-college athletics going on over the week. Well, not really. It's about all that's left right now as we're awaiting the NFL. The All-Star game happened. I did not see 1 second of it. That's just not a sporting event I care to watch. It's not real. Those guys are not going to really play, and that's understandable in a game that you can get hurt for nothing. I didn't watch that. Indiana had a tough loss between since we've spoken, and now Illinois, an opportunity to add to their resume, but that was certainly not to be. We'll get into that. Don Fischer will be joining us. We'll probably be talking to Charlie Miller, as he generally joins us on today as well. And Dustin Dopirak usually comes along. So we've got a lot to get to. We'll hear from Woody, Race. We're going to be talking to Trey Galloway later today as the Hoosiers' next contest. They head to Evanston, Illinois to take on Northwestern, who's been struggling. Indiana women, let's see, they had a big win over Purdue as they sweep the Boilermakers in what looks like was a nice crowd there. I was not there, but looks like a great crowd for that. So lots of good things going on, but it's still cold as heck out there, man. Whoo. Cold. How was your weekend? I hope it was well. I tried to do as little as possible. I am not going to lie. Once we got past that noon game on Saturday, had to dig out to get there. That was the first time. We'll be talking about that. It certainly exposed Indiana in a way that they were challenged the same way, similar way in the Purdue game, but they reacted differently. And I think that, they just kept trying to, once they got Trace Jackson back in there, trying to force feed that issue, and that was just not going to happen. Trace Jackson was not able to do anything to slow Kofi Cobra down in the second half. Something he's going to have to consider for his future. The inability to pull Kofi away from the post. There's just a lot of things for him to look at going forward. But we've all that to talk about and more as Don Fischer joins us in the next segment. So looking forward to that. Woody, like I said, let's hear what he had to say. Why did Indiana lose? What was his perspective on that? Here's what he had to say first.
Well, he didn't play particularly well. I thought Mike and those guys played well, but Mike, he was in foul trouble as well. Ended up fouling out, but I thought for the most part we did a pretty good job on the big guy until late. I thought we played a beautiful first half. I didn't think we executed too particularly well the first half, but still came in up 2. But You got to give them credit, man. They put a solid 40-minute ball game together, and we put a 20-minute ball game together.
There you go. That was a great comment. I love that when he said that they put a great 40-minute plan together and we put a great 20-minute plan together. I loved that comment. You can call it flat in the second half. But there was, the second half, Indiana Trace Jackson tried to go at Kofi. In the Purdue game, obviously that hand was not available. He was on the bench more, but they got more production around, and it changed their offensive attack, where they kept in that second half kept trying to force feed that same deal that just was not going to work and did not work. I like to have seen them try to make some different adjustments offensively, to be honest with you, to do things completely different. Use Trace Jackson Davis as a decoy. Get him out on the perimeter as just a passer, whatever it takes. Get Kofi Coburn away from the damn basket. Didn't work, unfortunately. So there's that. Also, he talked about Trace Jackson Davis, what he did. Let's hear what he had to say about TJD's performance.
That was that one. Sorry.
That was that one. All right. My apologies. I thought we were talking about all right. What was the other one? He talked about not defending the three.
Not defending the three. Yeah.
All right. So we had those reversed. Let's hear with that one.
When we've lost games, that's been when we've lost games, that's been either rebounding and not defending the 3-point line. And I thought we were pretty good on the boards tonight. Wasn't too bad, but the 3-point shot got away from us again tonight. I thought the two big threes that Jacob hit was really the turning point and the down spiral of our ball club after he made the 2 threes, because we never really recovered from it.
No, they did not. To have to pull back up the stats, but trying to remember now, the second half, I know they were outscored 41-20 or 40-21, whatever it was, almost doubled Indiana's score. And they just did not score in the second half. I mean, total points, 20 points. It just, they could not get the ball in the basket, as in the Illinois was just free rolling at that time. You couldn't stop Kofi, whether he scored or not. It was almost the psychological aspect of it. But that's going to be a problem going forward, man. If you run into guys like this, and Indiana has to find a way. I don't understand. Why put Trace Jackson Davis on Kofi? Especially once you saw, A, he was in foul trouble, but B, I don't understand why Race was not guarding Kofi Coburn. Was it a mental thing for Trace? Hey, he's our best player, so he's got to be on him. I'm not sure, but I did not like the matchup. Didn't work. There's another thing. Miller Kopp with 0 shots. I don't know what the game plan was, but if you're a shooter, you've got to get shots off, man. Especially in a game where the center's going to be plugged. But Indiana did not shoot the ball. Again, well from outside, they were 3 of 13 from the 3-point line. Only 2 players hit a 3-point shot. Xavier hit 1 and Parker hit 2. Miller didn't even take a shot. Indiana they attempted 10 less 3-point shots than Illinois did. And unfortunately, Illinois hit 10 of them. So there's the difference right there. That's 21 points scored on 3-point shooting right there. But You win by the 3, you die by the 3. But when you don't have the 3 ball going and you don't have it going in the middle, not going to work that well. We've got Don Fischer coming up next. We'll talk more about that. Trey Galloway today. Let's see, over the weekend, very unique event out at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. I don't know if you saw that. NASCAR ran out there. I actually watched that race. It was, even though the speeds were, it was a quarter-mile track. They put a quarter-mile racetrack inside of the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum that they've spent 3 months building, and within 2 weeks, it'll be torn out. Much like putting dirt on Bristol track last year, the dirt was removed. But even though they couldn't get up to big speeds, I still enjoyed it. It was the first race for the new NASCAR's new next-gen car. They had issues. We saw some drivers had similar issues with, so they've changed the equipment. The transmission is now at the back with the rear axle, apparently. Saw a couple guys lose that. Chase Briscoe, I think, was one of those from right down here in Mitchell. But it was actually a pretty entertaining race it's like racing in a closet, basically. There was no room, hard to pass. You couldn't pick up great speed. I think the top speed was probably, 50 something miles an hour. And it sounds like it's slow, which it is, but when you're still beating and banging, they still managed to make it fun. A big crowd was there. So that's kind of cool. But coming up next is the big Daytona 500. So while it's a big lull in the sports world at the moment, major events about to happen with the Super Bowl, the Daytona 500. We've had that little break, and now it's back, baby. Sports come back with a vengeance. We've still got college basketball, of course, which is between college basketball and football, obviously my 2 favorite sports to enjoy, but I still enjoy everything else. I enjoy NASCAR. I enjoy IndyCar racing. It's good to have those back to mix in with what we get to watch. NFL ends the football season, man. Well, not true. Now we got the USFL, right? I forgot about that. Kicking around. Lots of people already up on us with the Andy Moore Honda hotline. Dave just likes to make us cry. Although it's only 43 down there in Jacksonville. Man, dude, what a burger. What a burger. I need someone to send me some overnight Whataburger, and I will eat it on the air. I know Jacksonville has a few spots. Michael, the Music Man, on with us. Telling everybody good morning. Tim talked about the clash. He enjoyed that. Ross said it was the largest crowd ever for Indiana women's basketball. You know, I'll have to get into and read that, but looking at the pictures, the crowd looked great and tremendous. That's tremendous for as cold as it was outside. You still got snow on the ground here. So that's great. And that's an Indiana team that is still winning without arguably their most important player in Mackenzie Holmes at the center spot. So they've lost one game, I think, to number one, or not number one, but the top women's team in the Big Ten, Michigan. So congratulations to them. Let's see. Force is on from down to Georgia. He was happy to see Woodson pull the starters with 5 minutes to go per his post game, not playing well. Yeah, I wish I'd have had that clip pulled up. Someone asked, there was a moment where he pulled all the starters, and why did he do that? And he said, well, they just simply weren't playing well. That's good enough for me. Hey, we got to take a quick break. Coming up next, the man who knows a lot more about it than I do, the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer, joins us. We'll be with him as soon as we come back from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant, where tonight, well, no, I think tonight they're off. But normally on Mondays at 7:05, you can find Don and Coach Woody there for Inside Indiana Basketball. We're back with more on Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration. Good morning, Don.
Hi, Jimbo. How you doing?
I am fine because I am inside and warm.
Yeah, I get that. Hold on a second. I'm going to change my window here.
Morning, Charlie.
How you guys doing?
Hey, Charlie.
Doing well.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, buddy. How are you?
Good, man. Is it freezing up there?
Ha! Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. It has that. I don't know when it was above 32 last.
Wow.
We got
Well, actually, I think it
yesterday
did.
for the
I think it
first
broke 32 yesterday. I shouldn't say that, but
Goodness.
time. Yeah.
because I saw some stuff melting. But
Where are you, Charlie? Where were you at, Charlie?
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Well, you're ticking me off.
yeah, every day.
Look, we had some snow over the we had a 4-day weekend. We had snow.
Hey, Charlie, I don't care. I don't care. If you have a little snow, I have a little snow, a little ice. I don't care.
Got ice on the ground. You gotta be careful when
That's
I'm driving.
Don how much snow he has at his house, at his driveway, and his walkway. That's Don how much snow is there. I know because I'm on the same lateral path. I about almost a foot, man, nearly a foot of stuff, man.
Wow.
And that was buried, and it buried a coating of ice first,
Good.
and then the snow was on top of it. So Don had to get out there, shovel the path for his wife, and do all that work. It's terrible. I had to do it too. It sucks, baby. Y'all don't have any of that down there in Dallas. Come on.
You're right. We shut down the city for 2 days proactively, and they were ready this year because last year this happened around this time, guys, and I'm not joking. We were shut down for 7 days.
Yeah.
Well,
The power
we know,
grid.
we know that they have no idea what the hell to do.
There you go. So the game plan, they were on top of it this year. They were on top of it.
Well, yeah, 2 days is a lot better than 7.
That's right.
They learn, baby.
You know, you're just smarter than us, Charlie. You're living in a much warmer climate.
Oh man,
Yeah.
no, it's just I guess I'm gonna say okay.
All right, here we go.
Hey, this is John, the producer with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're now a part of the Rivals Network. TheHoosier.com is where you can find complete coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to TheHoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday, and that means we've got a couple of greats all the time. Don Fischer, the voice of the Hoosiers. Charlie Miller joins us, former IU player. Don, obviously Indiana coming off of a tough loss against Illinois. Not a shocker. I mean, it's not a game that the experts expected them to win, but one that we knew that they had the ability to win because we've seen them play at that level. It was how are they going to handle Kofi Coburn and this and that and the guards and all. We found out you just can't. Indiana didn't have an answer for Kofi Coburn. Not in the second half.
Not in the second half. And really, as much as it was Kofi, it was Jacob Grandison and Trent Frazier, too, because those 4 threes that those two guys hit were critical points in that ball game and basically took the game out of Indiana's hands. I thought Indiana really played well in the first half, despite the fact that Trace Jackson Davis gets in foul trouble again quite early. basically plays 4 minutes of the first half. So the foul struggles that he's been dealing with continued against the top guys that he's faced this year, the top bigs that he's faced. But without question, the disappointment was Indiana's performance in the second half, and the energy level, the intensity level, all those things that we have been talking about and this team has had this problem all year long. It's not just this game. The fact of the matter is, you could go back to the first game of the season against Eastern Michigan. Indiana's like 20-some point lead at halftime and lets it be a 6-point game at the end. They end up winning it, but by 6. And it started there, and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's mushroomed, but it's continued. It's been an ongoing issue for this team to play 40 minutes of basketball time and time again. You can probably on one hand name the games that they've had in which they played 40 minutes. The Ohio State and the Purdue games come to mind in that regard, in my opinion. Those were 2 really good ball games by Indiana from an energy and an effort standpoint. The rest of the time, you could go back and you'd have to hunt to find the games that they played 40 minutes of good basketball. And you could see the frustration in Mike Woodson at the end of this ball game, because the last 4 minutes, essentially, he took the starters out and never put it back in. And it was still a ball game at that point. You could have said that Indiana still had a slight chance to win this contest, but he was just frustrated, and I don't blame him.
He had a great comment, Charlie and Don, that Illinois had a great 40-minute game plan, and we had a great 20-minute game plan. And that really just summed up exactly what he said. And it was a little surprising, more surprising, because it was at home. The energy with the home crowd was electric. Not as with the Michigan game, it was like everyone was sucked. The energy was sucked out of them from that win over Purdue. That it took so much emotion out of it. But this game, the students were into it. The crowd was into it. So I'm a little surprised there. But it just was not the same energy. And Trace Jackson-Davis was sitting on the bench for most of the first half. So you would have thought he'd have had all the energy he needed to deal with that.
And when he came back in the second half, he didn't play a lot better. It's that simple. He has really kind of struggled here against the best bigs that he's faced this year. Obviously, he had the same problem in the Purdue ball game against Zach Edey and Travion Williams. We're going to have to see Trace make some strides here in regard to how he goes up against some of these bigs that he's having to face, because he's going to face another another couple of them coming up this week. You've got the Nance kid and Young and Barron, all bigs that Northwestern will pose against Indiana tomorrow night. And then you've got Michigan State with Marcus Bingham, a 7-foot guy that goes out the floor and knocks down threes, coming up on Saturday, along with Joey Hauser, who's 6'10", and they got people coming off the bench that are all 6'9", 6'10" guys. This is going to be a challenge for this Indiana basketball team. And there's no let up. Let's face it. There's just absolutely no let up in this league. And the good news is that Indiana has bounced back from most of their losses this year, and bounced back in a good way. And they're going to have to do that against Northwestern, because I'm telling you, Northwestern is going to be no easy out. Indiana split with them last year, winning at Northwestern and losing at home to them. And they've got 4 starters back from that ball club, and they have gotten better and better as the year has progressed, and they have played everybody in the Big Ten tough, including a win over Michigan State at Michigan State back on January 2nd.
Yeah, Charlie, that's that in itself. Michigan State, one of the top teams in the Big Ten, trying to win the title. Northwestern goes there and wins. Anytime you go to East Lansing and get a win there, that is special. And for a team like Northwestern, plus that, Don and Charlie, we've seen a lot of their other games. They have been so close in a lot of other games. They're grinding. That means they haven't quit. They're going to be playing at home. Anytime Indiana goes on the road, Charlie, you know the kind of bullseye that's on the back of that jersey.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big one, right? It's a big one. And, not just to kind of give a point about that game real quick, fellas. I think we are starting to identify a pattern for me. I mean, we against a tale of two teams. I said this, I think, about a month ago. I mean, we played well the first half, then it's like a letdown. I don't know what it is where, you give up crucial opportunities and crucial moments. And I'm more than certain Coach Woodson has addressing it. I think he said it in a sly way in his presser, right? 40-minute game, 20-minute game. We got to figure out a way to play better. I think the first 5 minutes of the second half, we got to figure out something to set the tone. Again, you going back to what you asked me, Jim. Yes, you always have a target on your back. It's just something about the tradition that we built over the years, whether I was there in the 70s or not, doesn't matter. I mean, you're Indiana. You're coming in, right? So people want to play their best game, so you got to be ready for their best.
Here's another thing too. Here's another thing too, Jim, that'll be interesting to see at Northwestern tomorrow night. Generally speaking, and Charlie, you know this because you played at Northwestern several times, Indiana fans show up in mass at Northwestern. If those tickets are available, Indiana will have a sizable delegation of Hoosier fans in the stands at Welsh Ryan Arena on Tuesday night.
Yeah, they have a big Chicago fan base.
Huge alumni base in Chicago, no question about it. And I'm guaranteeing you there will be, and because those tickets, I don't know, but I looked at a couple of the attendance level for the Rutgers game. I think they had 3,000 something. That was all the attendance was for Northwestern in that game. If that is the same scenario for the Indiana game, Indiana will have 6,000 people there. I'm just telling you.
And I've never been to Welsh Ryan. But it certainly looks. I'll be there this time. But it's a different looking gym. It's not college. It's kind of still at cross between that next level. Don, you've been there many times.
Yeah.
It's a different type of playing environment there.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because when Knight was the coach, the Northwestern student body had a lot of fun with Bob Knight. Trust me. Who's your daddy and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah. But when you think about the Wildcats and Northwestern's Welsh Ryan Arena, it's very much like what you see at Indiana in high school basketball. Right. At a lot of different places around the state. You'll see 7,000 to 9,000 seat stadiums around here. Like it's normal. And at Northwestern, you're pretty much seeing that kind of a stadium or that kind of arena to play basketball in. So it's always interesting to say the least. But I'm just concerned about this basketball team right now. They seem to take a step forward and then 2 steps back, and a step forward and 2 steps back. And I think they've got to get out of that routine, and they've got to find a way to put together more than a 2-game win streak here in Big Ten play, because they haven't had any more than that.
Yeah, the one thing that I have absolutely resisted this year, as in any time before, is especially when I hear people say, well, why isn't this guy playing? Why isn't this guy playing? Well, I'm pretty assured now with the staff that's all, I'm like, if they're not playing, there's a freaking reason they're not playing. So I don't question that. Whether it's Anthony Leo, Christian Lander, or Jordan, whoever it is, I don't care who it is, Michael Durr. I don't question. There may be a question, why is it? But I don't question the reasoning is my point. I know that if they were needed or available, Mike Woodson would have them on the floor. Mike Woodson wants to win every game that he is signed up for, I promise you. So trust me, they're in practice. They know what's going on. They know what's happening. Now, I guess the bigger question would be, why aren't some of these guys getting more involved? Why aren't they doing more to get involved, to get themselves on the floor? That's probably the question.
Well, I got something on that. And think about it, fellas. We're in the second half of your Big Ten season. And again, identification culture is really big. You know now who your players are. You got a good feel for them. Nothing against, been on both sides, right? Been on the white team, Don, where the practice squad jerseys, been on the red team, the starters, the players, right? And I think right now what you're starting to see, and people still will probably question is, I mean, he has his rotation. I mean, coach has his rotation. He knows who he can go to battle with, so to speak. He knows who's going to probably give him consistent minutes. He knows who's going to be on a short leash. And now a lot of these games where you don't really feel good about your second half because you can understand a system is designed to create predictable results. You know we're not really good at second half, so you're not going to play a lot of players. So probably put you in more deficit. So it might be a precautionary thing. Who knows, right? But at the same time, I think there's a reason, like you said before, that a lot of guys aren't playing because I think they know who they are as a player and they got to get better.
I think Mike makes his decisions based on attitude, how the guy responds when he puts him out there, or how he responds in practice,
right?
And he dictates a lot of where he's going to give guys playing time based on how hard they play at the defensive end of the floor.
Right.
Attitude and how hard you play are critical factors to Mike Woodson. And if they're not getting that from those players, then they're not going to be out there. And Mike Durr was out. He missed 3 straight ball games. He didn't play a minute. And all of a sudden they stick him in against Illinois on Saturday, and he does a pretty good job, at least in the first half. And without question, Mike's going to get guys out there that are going to do what he wants them to do, number one. And then number two, what kind of energy they play with. And if they follow what they're supposed to do from a coaching perspective, the way he wants them to play. And I've never really questioned coaches in regard to who they play, because they're the only ones that know. They're in practice every day. They know exactly what the kid's attitude is. Are they having a problem away from the basketball court? Are they having problems in school? They know what the issues are. You just can't question. I don't think you should question coaches and their decisions on players and playing time, because 99% of the time you don't know the whole story.
Boy, that was the key right there. I was going to say 99% of the time, I'm right there with you, 1,000%. I'm looking at some stats from Northwestern last year, and something that's kind of ironic. Their second leading scorer, it looks like, one of their best 3-point shooters was Miller Kopp, who they don't have this year. But he didn't put up a bunch of shots, even at Northwestern. He averaged just over 1 3-point shot a game, or making one for every 4. So he's not doing a lot less different, but he's got a hell of a lot more talent around him right now. So I think that he's still trying to find a way to just either be a facilitator and being a part of this offense, but having someone like him or Parker kind of increase their production definitely would be something that this Indiana team could need or use going forward as we get closer to the tournament run.
Hey, but check it. He's going back to Northwestern. Think about that. Right. And I mean, we saw, and I can't compare it, but we saw what Rob Finney did playing against Purdue, ran his backyard team. These type of games you get jacked up for. I don't know why. I can't really explain why. I feel he's going to be jacked up for this game. I think he's going to be all dialed in, locked in. And I'm hoping that that's enough for the center for him. Because I think the world of him. I think he has a tremendous upside, but I think he's trying to find his way and figure his way out with the team. And it's kind of late. I mean, we're talking about now. I mean, your season's pretty much going to be over, within several weeks, man. So maybe more little acclimation may be needed for comfort or also direction from coaches, but he has the tools. You just hope a game like this can kind of be a breakout game.
His familiarity, Don, with Welsh Ryan should certainly prove beneficial to him.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question he'll go back there jacked up because, number one, these guys are guys he played with for the last 3 years.
Exactly.
So these are brothers, so to speak, and he has a great relationship with these guys. His reasons for leaving Northwestern are his own. Whether it was coach involved or just the fact that he felt like he needed a different scene for his senior year, whatever the case may be. And all you can say at this point is, and he's a kid from Texas, so, it's not like he's married to Evanston, Illinois or anything like that, but he played 3 years there and he knows all these guys. That's why he's going to be jacked up, and he's played in that building a ton. So he may just love playing in that building, and this could be really a breakout ball game for him, much like it was at Syracuse.
Absolutely. I don't want to forget this, Don. Chuck Crabb announced his retirement. You have been doing. Only person probably that has done it longer than what they're doing at Indiana is you. But he's still he's an icon, man. He's one of those faces. Don Fisher is probably the first face especially when you come to broadcasting, we're going to think of. Chuck Crabb is going to be there alongside as the PA guy for so long. That nondescript way of how he did that. And just ride off into the sunset like he did, you got to congratulate him. But, man, he's going to be missed. He was a favorite on how he did that.
Well, the other thing, and this is what people don't know, or a lot of people don't know about Chuck, he was a historian. This guy knows more about Assembly Hall, about what happened in Assembly Hall, about Indiana athletics over the years than just about anybody. He's been a part of that program for 40. Well, he was 45 as the PA guy. I think in total he was close to 50, not 50 at this point, but as he hung it up here, but he was close to 50 years of being around Indiana University athletics, and graduating from IU, as you know, I think in 1973 was his graduation year. So that was the year that I came. So he's been around as long as I have, without question. Great guy. Really, really glad for him. The decision he made. I think John Harmon's passing had a lot to do with it too, because I know that a lot of things were said about John and his family and not getting a chance to him enjoy retirement himself. And I think that passing affected Chuck to some degree and brought about what he decided was the end of the line for him.
Yeah, and if you're not involved in game day operate, whether it's in the media or part of IU, you probably don't know who John Harmon is. But if you were, you definitely did. But even if you weren't, what he did, you knew of, because he was behind all of the lighting and all the things, the sound, everything. And he was just one of those guys that made everything run. And when it didn't, he was the first guy to get to it. And I remember I'd see him. There was not a game I didn't see him. Even with the mask on, you're like, hey, you can always tell who they are. And
great guy.
Yep, shame to see that, but congratulations to Chuck as well, as he is.
Right.
He's gone, man. But we've got Don left, and we've got big games coming up to end this season, brother. The next one up, Northwestern tomorrow night. No coaches show tonight, correct?
No, we traveled tonight. We'll be on our way to Chicago, so we will not be having a talk show tonight. We'll be back on that next Monday,
the day after the Super Bowl. So I look forward to getting back. You can still head out to Southern Stone Restaurant, but you might as well go there just to keep the habit up, right? For the great food. But Don, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, sir. We look forward to seeing you up at Welsh Ryan.
Guys, great being with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. I think we got to take a break, and if you got to go, I understand. If not, we look forward to talking to you again soon. Can't thank you enough for jumping on, and we'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Dustin Dopirak right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Sports on television.
Yeah, Jim. Hey man, I appreciate it. I have to go, but I told if you're open to it, I'm available tomorrow night. Don't know if you just let me know if you want me.
Yeah, we'll either do it tomorrow night or do it in the morning. But yeah, that probably would be great.
Yeah, as far as the post game.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would appreciate that.
All right, I appreciate you guys, man.
Thank you, buddy. Hey, have you met Dustin Dopirak before?
I have not. How you doing, Dustin? I'm Charlie Miller.
Hey, Dustin.
Doing good, Charlie. How you doing?
Doing well, man.
Dustin was previously with the Bloomington Herald-Times. He's been other places, the other big events. Now he's back with the Bloomington Herald-Times, which is essentially the Indy Star. He's one of the writers, along with Zach Osterman, that covers IU, Big Ten, all that stuff.
So the price went up. That's all you're saying. The price went up. The price went up.
See,
bigger.
See, my man knows quality, man.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
That's
so
correct.
I get it, Dustin. I get it.
Look at Charlie. Charlie's on. Charlie's got his finger on the pulse of what's going down.
Man. You know me. You know better than that, man. Hey, I see you guys. I appreciate it.
We'll see you, Charlie. Hey, just a heads up, Jim. Jim Reamer will not be joining us at his normal time today.
That's fine. Dustin, how are you, brother?
Doing good, Jim. How you, man?
I'm great. I'm warm, so that's all I care about right now, man.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Are you heading to Northwestern, or is Zach going?
Both of us are going to go. We generally both go. Well, now that he's back off of paternity leave, we're going to go on drive trips together and split the flies. So I think we only got one fly trip left, and it's kind of a toss up. He's Minnesota. So
Minnesota,
Michigan State, because he's got some kind of medical thing, some procedure scheduled. We're good.
How far of a drive is Minnesota from Indy?
Probably 8. It's no joke. I mean, it's for real. We usually fly it from Minnesota to Minnesota. It's a hike.
But
it feels like
a
less
little
of a hike
bit
than it would be, but it is a hike. It's a serious hike.
Well, that's kind of like Nebraska. Nebraska's on the Nebraska's over the edge for me, but I still did it the last football game, and I'll probably do it the next football game unless I can find some crazy flight. And I don't think that Allegiant or Spirit are flying into Lincoln from Indianapolis.
They are not. Yeah, Lincoln doesn't have a lot of options. I think Lincoln's only got one airline that comes in,
or even Omaha for that matter.
I flew into Lincoln, and it was
10 seconds.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Just want to let you know.
Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by RE/MAX Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this Monday, getting your day or week started off right. And just finished up with Don Fischer, Charlie Miller, and now we keep on rolling. Dustin Dopirak from the Bloomington Herald. How are you, sir?
Doing good, Jim. About yourself?
Great. How was your weekend?
Fantastic.
Of course, you had to work like the rest of us, another 6-day week. But with the game yesterday, at least it was an early game. I much prefer a noon game over a 9:00 game in Chicago. I can promise you that, but that is in the offing tomorrow night, not only for us, but for Indiana, for the guys. And I wish I still had Charlie on here, but that can't be fun to make that trip. It's cold. I mean, once you get in, you're warm and all that stuff, but it's still, your body knows it's 9:00 in Chicago. And man, it's hard. And it is different for people, but until you become a pro, where these NBA guys, they do it more, but it's difficult for some of these guys to get up. It's not the same. They just played at 12 noon on Saturday. Now they're going to Chicago just a couple of days later and playing at 9:00 at night. It's taxing.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, and obviously they're coming off the previous bye. They had 7 days off, so that helps. I mean, it allows them to recover a little bit faster. And they are college kids. I mean, I miss having that level of metabolism to move on quickly, but it does get to be a grind for these guys during the year. And like you said, like for as much youthful energy as they have, they don't have that kind of pro ball, endurance that sets in when it's every night or when it's close to every night. It takes some getting used to. I mean, I obviously, I think where it really hits you for them, it's not so much the 9:00 Tuesday night. I mean, I think they've got the juice for that. It's the getting up and going to class on Wednesday when you get back sort of deal. Because you get right back on the bus, or you get on the charter or whatever it is.
And Bob Knight used to beat that drum big. He hated that more than anything, and he made it known.
Yeah, no, and it's tough for Indiana in particular. It's a tough one because it's, I mean, you're still on Eastern time, and you catch some of these games because you are this far out, this close to the central time zone. You end up getting a lot of these games that, I mean, obviously everybody's playing everybody. But it's a little bit different in terms of, this is a drive trip for them, but they're changing time zones. And, people are more willing to put Northwestern on the 9:00 game. Indiana still gets some home games that way. Obviously that's 9:00, but in terms of television windows, leaning the later ones towards the central time zone teams, you're making short drives, but, changing time zones and getting 9:00 tips. And you still got to get back for, I don't know, 8 a.m. Central Time class. No idea who's got what, as far as that's concerned. And it's a trip. Yeah, no, I mean, and obviously, there's all these trade-offs in terms of what you got to do to grow the game, but to take advantage of as many television windows as you have, and to get a 7 o'clock and a 9 o'clock on prime time every night, and maybe 11 o'clock out west, you're putting a lot of Central and Eastern teams on 9 o'clock tips. And, that's leading to guys, again, having to get back to class in the morning. So it is taxing on them. You are asking a lot to financially grow the game to, get as many teams as you can on TV, and make it a TV sport and make it feel constant from, at least January, but preferably November through February through March, that this is a game that you can find on at any time. You can find college basketball on your TV just about any time. Again, no, but it asks a ton of the kids, and it always has, and that's what we've been taxing these kids for years.
At least, well, now they're potentially getting paid for it. Well,
some of it, yes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Looking down as Indiana travels to Northwestern, one of the lower 4 teams in the league, but very dangerous to consider them that because a couple of reasons. A, their overall record, they have a winning record. Their record at home, they have a winning record. They've won 2 straight. They've gone on the road and beaten Michigan State. So this is not Nebraska that's 0-12. No. So you go to Northwestern, a team that you pretty much have to beat. You just lost to Illinois, which that's okay. That's a sustainable loss because of who they are. This one is not. As you try to build your NCAA tournament resume, you need a road win because you've given up 2 home losses. Northwestern is one of those that you kind of really need to steal.
Yeah, no, you do. It's one of those. I mean, especially because you've lost to Illinois and Michigan at home. You need to get some games on the road, and you got Maryland, and that helps. But you got to get some other road wins, and also you got to look at it as okay. Let's look at what's left on the schedule at home. It's pretty tough. I mean, you got or just in general. I mean, like you follow this with Michigan State, Wisconsin, Ohio State. So like if you don't win this one, you might need to win 2 of those 3. If you win this one, you probably only need to win 1. I mean, I think they probably get in if they only beat teams they're supposed to beat the rest of the way. They could probably get in, but it's tight. You could really use another big one. I mean, like if you're only gonna beat teams you're supposed to beat, you got to beat Northwestern at home. You got to beat Minnesota at home. That means winning both of those games in those places. So but if you lose any of them, that makes it more necessary. But you get a Michigan State or a Wisconsin or an Ohio State or a Purdue. It's just the margin of error becomes tight. I mean, they got a lot of the important wins they had to get. I mean, they put themselves in good shape. There's a couple of losses that you want to have back. Certainly, Penn State on the road is a team that you should probably beat. You shouldn't get waxed by Michigan like they did. Could
have won the Iowa game. Really,
game on the road. If you don't just have an absolute turnover. Destruction in the middle of, they've gotten way better at turnovers. I mean, that was a major issue in the first half.
Even in their big losses like we saw the other day.
Yeah. I mean, it's come down drastically. They're sub 10 most of the time. And they went 23 in that one. Obviously it's different. Iowa does turn you over. I mean, they make a point to do it. They press you and stuff like that. But, I mean, the press wasn't that good. There's a couple where they just kicked it around. Those are games you should win. So now, like you've taken those and that you're still in a position that if you win the ones you're supposed to win, you're in good shape. But this has got to be the ones you're supposed to win. So basically, any one that you lose that you're supposed to win from now on, you absolutely have to come back with one you're not supposed to win. I think is really the important case here. They can't lose too many more that they should win, and if they lose a lot more than they should win, they need to win some ones that they shouldn't win.
I look at Indiana and you look at the record, it tells me I can see a team that's immature and growing because of their home record at 13-2. Well, overall they're 16-6. That's great. You can't ask for anything more than that from where they have come from. At home, they're 13-2. That's pretty stout with only the 2 losses coming from two big time teams. But their road record again, it's a losing record, 2-4. They're the first. Well, actually, no. Ohio State is at 3-4, but they're the first team that has that really you start to see it
Understand
separates on the road between them and the guys below them. Rutgers is 2-7, Michigan 2-6, Iowa 2-5, and then it gets worse from that. But there's that demarcation line, and that's a seed differential to me. That's it's not going to keep them out of the tournament, but that is what's going to keep them from being a 7 seed versus an 8 or 9 seed. And that is not where you want to be, man. You just don't want to be playing the number 1 seed the second game into the tournament.
No, but I mean, obviously the good part is they're starting to get better. I mean, I think, again, you mentioned the sort of immaturity, and it's not a young team, but it's a young team together. I think that's the kind of piece you have to go back to. Xavier Johnson. I mean, I think you've seen a ton of maturity for him recently. I mean, he's a senior, he's a 4th-year guy, but he's a first-year guy with this group. He's a first-year guy with Mike Woodson, and I mean, he took a step back on Saturday against Illinois after he'd made a lot of progress. I mean, he did some really good things, but apparently, as far as doing what Mike Woodson wanted, he took a step back, as Mike made that pretty clear, saying he didn't get us into anything that I didn't call myself, is the way Mike put it. But he's figuring out how he sets people up. It basically felt like it seemed like that was something that was missing from his game. As much as he was good at scoring and assists or whatever, he has become more of a quarterback. And he kind of took a step back in that regard as far as Illinois was concerned. We know the pieces there, just guys getting used to each other, guys getting used to where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to contribute, what they mean to this team, what their role is. That's been something that's gone on throughout the year, and the toughness is showing up slowly. And again, they've won their last 2 road games after they started 0-4, so it's getting better. Their ability to create their own energy on the road, to understand a mindset on the road, is getting better. So, that becomes, it again, tells you, though, that Northwestern is a game that you should win. When if you beat Maryland on the road, you should be able to beat Northwestern on the road. But as you mentioned, Northwestern's dangerous. I mean, you look at their losses, and it's 5 points, 6 points, 3 points. It's tight. So it matters. But they are that's improving, basically. Obviously, there was the Syracuse game, they lose the Wisconsin game. Those ones are tight, but Wisconsin, you blow the lead. Penn State's a brutal one, and then you get Iowa. And then it seemed like after that, they sort of realized, hey, we really got to do something about this, and they got better. Obviously, they beat a bad Nebraska team on the road, get you started, get you healthy. But then beating Maryland, I thought was a big deal. And so Northwestern, I think, will be a big deal. If they can get Minnesota on the road, that's a big one. Michigan State's going to be tough to get at Breslin, but I think they're at least figuring out how to win there. And if they end up with 4 road wins by the time the season's over, 4 or 5 road wins, they look a lot better.
And we've seen, going back to the Illinois game, where Kofi had a big game, but we've seen that happen before. It came down to shooting for Indiana and Illinois, obviously, as they shot the ball very well from outside, 10 of 23 from behind the arc, which was 10 more 3-point attempts that Indiana had been put up. Which they hit 3 of. So Illinois hit 7 more 3-point shots than Indiana.
Yeah.
The perimeter defense was not there. We talked about it. I mean, if those guys go off, that was going to be a problem. Frazier and crew, and they did. And so they are able to do what they needed to do to get it done. But of course, if the game before they went 4 of 11, I think, against Minnesota, they still were able, or Wisconsin, they were able to win that game, but that's not always the case. But now, so Indiana has to turn their focuses on just doing what they can do and staying within their game. One of the comments we had earlier from Race was saying, he said that they just still need to slow down and take their shots. They sometimes allow teams to get them out of what they're trying to do. And especially in games like Illinois or Purdue, where things are changed because of personnel reasons.
Right.
They don't seem, in the Purdue game, it worked to Indiana's benefit. They kept using the ball outside and getting movement outside. And the Illinois game, when they would get Trace Jackson back in, they kept trying to force the issue that just wasn't going to work. I was a little surprised that they didn't make an adjustment there and try to do something different, because they didn't stop trying and it just never worked.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of pieces there to kind of break down. I think on the offensive end, the fact that Jackson Davis was out about 4 minutes into the first half, I think it took him a while to figure out what was going to work. And I mean, we talked to him on Thursday, and he was saying, "No, I think my athleticism is going to work for me." And I think what he tried to do, and he was somewhat successful on a couple occasions, was sort of bringing Coburn out a little bit and driving around him. I mean, that was kind of his view. It's like, okay, like I've got to get him away from the rim so I can beat him, and he did on occasion, and it stopped working after a while. Kobe did, I thought, a better job there, but I think he was going to have to try it until he figured out it didn't work, and when it figured out it didn't work, game was almost over because he hadn't had that first half to get him himself into a rhythm, see what was going to work and what didn't. The 3 points was an interesting piece as far as offense was concerned, or as far as the Illinois defense was concerned. Because they did that well for about 25, 30 minutes. I think Illinois was 6 of 18, and you'll take 33% from them. Like, they're going to put up a lot. Like, you can live on 6 of 18. They got 4 of their last 5. And, like, that's a big deal. That makes that number look gaudy. And, like, they really lost their legs. I thought that was a big piece to it, is you have a combination of, like Kofi wore Trace out. And Trace didn't even play the first half. And because you're running into a 285-pound wall. Like, that guy's there is not one single inch of give on that human being. You are running into 285 pounds of bricks, basically.
He looks like he's got about 5% of body fat on him.
Less. I mean, like, he is it is muscle on top of muscle. Like,
he's huge.
You know, you could grow muscles. There are muscles on Kofi Coburn. He's just a massive human being. And I remember Trace just like walking away like dazed. Like, he literally was like he was running into a tank over and over and over again. And that is a massive human being, and it wears you out in a short time frame. But it's like the guys had to cover so fast. There was so much read and recover. They're doubling down. They're running back out. I mean, there was so much that you have to do to close them out, to be able to deal with him in the middle and run back out and close out. And they knew they had to do it. And, like, there's a wear and tear. Even if you know you have to do it, like, doing it for 40 minutes is a different animal. Like, it's just because it's just like when you have to, like, run that much. And they expend a lot of energy on defense. I mean, they bring a lot of pressure. They try to get up in your face. Indiana does. But there is a tax to that. There is a tax on your body to that. Like, especially if you're going to cheat in and try to double down and try to do something there. And, you got to be a little bit indiscriminate about it because everybody out on the floor can shoot. You can't pick a guy to double off of that you're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to give him, and I won't give the rest of these guys. If DeMonte Williams, Jacob Grandison, Trent Frazier, and Alfonso Plummer are on the floor, there's no option. There's no guy that you cheat off and think you're going to be better off. Like, DeMonte Williams only has like 11 or 12, but he can still burn you if you hand it to him. And the rest of them have like 25, 30. So, or like 40, and Alfonso's got like 50. So, like, you can't pick your poison. You just got to run like a crazy person all day, and by the 5-minute mark, you're gassed, and they were. Bottom line.
And I hate to bring this question up because it's a whole nother can of worms, but in watching Trace play those kinds of games and knowing that he does not have the shot to go along with that right now, he does not have, and there was a moment, a couple times where he needed to go to the opposite direction and just didn't. How does he move on from Indiana after this season without those tools in his bag right now, and without even the hint of those tools coming?
I don't know that he does. I will say I do think the right hand's better. I mean, I feel like we spent a lot of time looking at this stuff because, hey, I mean, we all knew sort of what he had to do, right? And what he was saying he was going to do and what the plan was. And obviously Mike Woodson told him this is what you got to be if you got to go to the next level. And he keeps going into it keeps being the same issue. I do think the right hand's better. I think the passing's better. I mean, he is a better basketball player than he was a year ago. I don't want to act like he has not grown. He has certainly grown. One, I mean, like year to year, 1 to 2 to 3, he's an immensely better leader. He's an immensely better communicator. I think it's very easy to talk about Trace like he hasn't gotten better. He's gotten massively better.
Oh, footwork's better, all the kinds of things. Shot blocking, defense.
Yeah, the shot blocking, being allowed to go shot block. I mean, that's really what it is. It's not that he couldn't block before. I mean, you really look at his block numbers considering, like, and I didn't realize this until he said it. Like, it's just one of those things that, like, you don't catch it on film unless you know you're looking for it. But when you look at it on film now and you know that it's there, it's drastic. Like, he's allowed to leave his man to go block shots where he was not allowed to do that under the Archie Miller regime. And he just flat said that. He was like, yeah, like in Archie's scheme, I didn't leave. I was supposed to stay on my man and box him out. And I was not allowed to leave to go block. but it was rebounding was more of a preference, because you just make these calculations. What do you want more? Do you want the shot blocking, or do you want the rebounding, or do you want the box out? Archie Miller made one call, Mike Woodson makes another call. Like how important is transition offense to all those things? So that's kind of how the calculation was made in the Miller regime. It's different than the Woodson regime, and now he gets to go block shots. But as far as offense is concerned, again, no, I do think the right hand's better. I think you watch that closely. He can handle a little bit better. He has been able to make shots with his right hand. Didn't necessarily do it on Saturday, but I think that's better. But the shot you're not seeing, it's very rare. And I think what it comes down to,
and he can shoot the ball, because I was watching him. We all watch in warmups, and I'm like, damn it, he can shoot the ball. Why not go to the high post and just for 15 footers, anything to draw your guy out.
And you don't know why he doesn't do it in this one. And it almost should have been part of the scheme. I think a big issue is a big reason why, and I think it's the same reason why he didn't get better at it year one or year two. When you're doing this, the simple, effective thing works. It's hard to get complicated just to show you can do it. It's easy to justify that when you're working on it, when you're taking a shot in practice or whatever, but you get the ball down on the floor and you need a bucket, and you're frequently in position where you don't have a lot of time to screw around, especially when you get in these difficult games. Like Indiana does not frequently have time to screw around in games. It's or experiment. You go to what works. And that's certainly what happened the last 2 years. Is because Trace is so good around the rim. Trace is so good at getting his shot and, getting to his left hand. No matter how much everybody knows he wants to get to his left hand, he can get to it. I mean, the guy's averaging, 19 a game for his career. You got to give him credit for knowing what works. But it's just one of those things that, yes, when NBA scouts look at it, they see a gaping hole that of a thing that he can't do, and or hasn't proven that he can do it all, and then he'll have to do it the next level when you're 6'9". But at 6'9" in the college game, with the athleticism he's got, with the skill he's got, he can get to that hook over and over and over and over again. And when you need a bucket, it's you're only going to get so many shots a game for anybody. That thing's automatic, and you forget too, where the game has gotten in terms of analytics is it's layups and threes. A long two is not a smart shot, because it adds risks, and you don't gain any reward for more risk. You add more of a risk of a miss by stepping out 15 feet, and you don't get an extra point for getting it. So, okay, if you're not hitting threes, how valuable is a 10 to 15 foot shot generally? Just as far as that's concerned, a lot of teams, that's why you've seen less mid-range game, teams getting away from long twos, because, there's not more reward for the risk. But obviously in certain scenarios, that's the only shot there, and you've got to be able to take it. And when you're going against Kofi Coburn, that's a time that it needs to show up. But if you haven't gone to it all year, if you haven't, just proven yourself you can trust it in a game, you're hesitant to do it. But it's the right move there. You've got to drag him out. You've got to force him to defend you out there and take advantage of your athleticism. But he's got to believe that you're going to take it from 10 to 15 feet. So, but again, that's tough when you haven't done it, and you trust your ability to score around the rim. You're going to keep trusting your ability to score around the rim, and that's what he did. He trusted his ability because he's good there. It's his bread and butter, so he went to it. And he could have used more outside shots. Mike Woodson called him out. Now that's a teaching moment. I think that's something that Woodson said at the beginning. And that Trace Jackson Davis said at the beginning, is that he told me I'm going to get pulled if I don't shoot. And again, rubber hits the road there, though. And you're saying, all right, I'm really going to pull Trace Jackson Davis for not taking a 10 to 15 footer, when usually there's a pretty drastic difference between him and Michael Durr. Am I really going to pull Trace because he didn't take the jump shot I wanted to take, when he's my best player? The rubber hit the road. It hasn't happened, but him calling him out publicly, I think makes a difference. I think I think you'll see Trace Jackson Davis take a mid-range jump shot the next opportunity that he has.
Yeah, he certainly needs to. And I think of guys that are not here now that are coming, like Jalen Hood-Schifino and CJ Gunn, who over the weekend hit a buzzer beater shot for his team, and exciting taller playmakers. And you can see that the difference, has nothing to do with the talent Indiana has now, but I'm just saying what they're bringing in. CJ 6'5", Jalen Hood-Schifino 6'5", big guards that Indiana just doesn't have at the moment. because I see a lot of people talking about, well, they got to do this. They got to motion. They want motion offense. Man, Mike Woodson is a Bob Knight disciple. If he thought that they needed motion offense, they would be running that probably now. That's also a difficult offense to run, and it's a more difficult offense to coach, to teach, because Bob Knight invented it. He perfected it. So it is an offense. There's not a map. There are opportunities, and it's a constant decision-making offense that every player makes time after time. It is a constant read and react type of thing. So I don't think if he was going to implement that, he can't do that now, and you can't implement everything at the same time. And I don't know that he's going to, because he comes from an NBA level. It's a different type of game.
Yeah, no, it's not a computer game. You can't just install a chip and suddenly Xavier Johnson can run a motion offense. It's one of those things it's got to be a devoted. And I'm not saying that these guys can't do it. I'm not saying that it's beyond them in some way, but it's got to be that's a July decision. That's not a January decision. You can run a couple more plays, but you can't create a whole new set of principles in January. If you want to do that, you got to do that in July. Because
if they'd have tried to do that, implement all that, this season they would be this year's Northwestern, probably at best.
If they started doing that right now, it'd be a mess. Yeah. But and again, I'm not saying, I'm not going to sit there and say, okay, well, how would the pieces move? Does that make them a better team? Would they be, or did they have all the pieces to be motion? What all does that require? And there's secondary and third things that you're not thinking about that you're like, okay, well, how would he be? What would that guy do? What's that take away from him? What options does that give him? What options does that take away from him? I can't say off the start of it, but I think, on some level, some of these guys need sets, to get going. Obviously they've played inside out. That's the first start, and that's not something you can't do with motion or whatever. And obviously you can get some things done with ball screens or whatever. But it's certainly possible. You can certainly look at it and say, okay, well, if this is a motion team, are they this much better? But you've got to be a motion team. You've got to decide that a year in advance.
The one thing that they haven't done that I've talked about it more than once is I've seen, and Xavier has the ball in his hand. He's the point guard most, but I've seen him go inside out many times for a nice open 3-point shot to him. Whereas that should be Miller Kopp doing that, or that should be, more importantly, Parker Stewart trying to get that accomplished.
Well, they got that. They did that a lot in December and in November and December. And it's not that they got away from it. It's that everybody figured out they were going to do that. That was where you saw, that was why you saw the Minnesota game the way that it was that they doubled off of Johnson and Finney and said, this is where we're bringing the double. The teams have figured out that you can't double off with Miller Kopp and Parker Stewart. Bottom line, if Miller Kopp dumps it down, you don't go back. You stay where Miller is. If Parker Stewart dumps it down, you don't go down. You stay where Parker is. It's that simple. They got T-ball threes that way. That was Archie Miller's word, but Parker got T-ball threes. He would just throw it into Trace and throw it right back out. It was that was easy, but it's not. If you're a Big Ten coach, you're not stupid. There are two guys on this team that can burn you by 3. So, you have to run, you got to screen to get those guys open now. I just got a comment saying that, if you're getting a 3-point shot for either Stewart or Kopp, they've got to be coming off a screen or coming down in transition. It's bottom line. And so,
we have not seen Parker, the catch and shoot. Have not seen that a lot from him. I saw it once in the Illinois game. Yeah, catch and shoot.
Almost all of his shots are catch and shoot.
Not enough.
What's that?
He missed. I saw him. The one I saw him take the other day. He missed, but he just kept saying, man, if you're not going to make a screen or get open, then you've got to be able to shoot the ball as soon as it hits your hands. And he just didn't seem like he was always looking to catch and shoot. He is more, you can see he's looking for that shot more frequently now, but it still doesn't seem to be there enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's tough. He probably doesn't have might not pull the trigger fast enough, but it is one of those things where it's that the bigger issue is he's not creating off the dribble. You know, like there's nothing happening off the bounce for him at all. Like he even just a quick jab step, you know, get some space, pull back and fade. I mean, like if he's not with his feet under him, he's not taking it.
I mean, Xavier is the guy that can do that. Trey Galloway's trying to do that sometimes, but it seems like he's trying to integrate. I don't know. He's trying to facilitate, not get to the rim, or I'm not sure. They just don't have those playmakers yet, but they're coming.
I mean, they don't have anybody right now that can create and shoot. You know, I mean, they've got guys who can create and guys who can shoot. Tamar Bates is a guy who's got that skill set. The ball's just not going in for the man. I mean, and he's got, you know, he's had some good looking shots. He had a pretty one. I mean, like the pull up he had the other day against Illinois was like, there it is. That's Tamar Bates. That's the guy you recruited. That's what he's here for. You know, like, I mean, he just had like he had a couple guys on him, and it was a little bit of a broke down situation, but he pulled back, faded, and it was pretty. And you were like, okay, well, that's Tamar Bates, you know, like, and it's gonna be there for him. I really believe that. I don't know if it's gonna be there for him this year. It's just he's having a hard time getting on track. But he's their one true 3-level scorer, but he's not scoring from anywhere. You know, and like he's got all three of those levels to his game. He's got the ability to create it, and it hasn't been there. So what you're left with is a bunch of guys who can either create or can shoot. And Xavier can do it on occasion. You saw a couple of mid-range from Xavier from X on Saturday, but you know, so that I think is an important step for as much as he got criticized after from Woodson. You know, if he can create a mid-range jumper, you know, that helps. That goes a long way. And you know, he can get the occasional three, but just with that form, he's not a good shooter. You're not going to, you can't expect better than 35% from him. Like that's a high ceiling for 35. But if
Indiana has a chance,
just shoot, and other guys are go to the rim guys.
Indiana has a chance over these next 3 games to really kind of cement their resume. The Northwestern road game, it's one that they need to win. I just no other question about that. But then you get back-to-back home games with number 13 Michigan State, number 11 Wisconsin. If Indiana wins 2 out of those 3, you've got to call that a success. Although they could win all 3 of them, but I think that 2 out of those 3 is a success for this team and continues to keep them at or move up a seed possibly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's a big stretch. I mean, like you got to get Northwestern, but yeah, those next 3 are big opportunities, and they're all doable. I mean, there's not a force like Kofi in that group. There's 3. It's 3 really, really good teams. But obviously, I mean, there's not an internal force like Kofi. There's other dudes. Obviously, Michigan State's got as much depth of talent as there is in the league with Christie, with Bingham, with Hall. Like, I mean, they're Marble. There's talented dudes on that team. But I don't know that it's so much they can run away from them. Wisconsin obviously has got Davis, who burned them the first time. But I mean, that's a big Trey Galloway game for me. If Galloway can slow down Johnny Davis, I think they got a chance to win that game at home. Because I think they can win in a bunch of those other positions. And if Brad Davis and don't burn them, they've got a shot. And then Ohio State they beat before, and obviously they got to go beat them on the road. That's a different ball game. Shot's a tough place to win. They've had tough times winning out there in the past. But I think with Thompson and Geronimo, they got 2 guys that can guard Liddell, and after that goes along. That goes a long way. That's important. They never have a guy on the floor. With those 2 guys taking all your power forward minutes, they can handle Liddell for 40 minutes, and that's a big deal, and it gives them a shot.
6 remaining regular season games. 2 of their next 3 are at home, 2 of their next 3 are at home with those 2 games against ranked teams. As I said, 2 of their last 3 are on the road against ranked teams. Ohio State, as you mentioned, and they finish at Purdue, I believe. All right, actually, I'm missing a game there. So
you got Minnesota, you got Rutgers in there. There's it's Ohio State, Maryland, Minnesota, Rutgers, and then it's at Purdue to end the year.
So they've got a chance to end this season pretty well and be where they want to be. Just got to take care of business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
What's up next? What's up next for you, brother? I know you're heading up to West Ryan.
Yeah, we get rolling again this week. We get to talk to Trey Galloway at 11, which I'm excited about because he's, I think, been a really important piece of this team recently. And then we get Northwestern tomorrow and Michigan State on Saturday.
Well, buddy, I cannot wait to see. I'll see you up there and look forward to it. Cannot thank you enough. Look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much, sir. Safe travels.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jim.
You bet. Dustin Dopirak from the Bloomington Herald joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Always love talking to Dustin and guys like him who know what the hell they're talking about. We've got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. What happened over the weekend in high school? I know CJ Gunn hit a buzzer beater, but there's plenty of other big games. I think a big game coming up tonight, maybe. More coming here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore's 2 decades of experience. Could be the difference in you getting the home you want or not. Reach out to Cheryl. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Start the new year.
I reached out to a couple people. They couldn't join, of course, but
For what?
because we don't have Reamer.
Oh, at all?
No, he can't join, period. today.
Oh, I thought you said not the regular segment. It was all.
No, he can't join it all today. He said he might come on later this week if you want him.
Well, yeah, I didn't see that text of yours until
I didn't. Did I text you that? I think I just told you before Dustin came on.
we got plenty to talk about.
Ooh, you know what you
watch
could
the-
do? And I need to
Holy.
get it on here real quick. If you want to play Jalen Hood-Schifino's mom,
Yes.
where did I put that at? Hold on.
Pacers trade Karis LeVert.
Where did I put that? Audio clips. There we go. Angel Schifino. Yeah, I've got that. It's 3 minutes and 41 seconds if you want to play. It's just audio too.
Perfect.
Now, did you, before I play that later, was there anything? I didn't actually edit it. I just took what you had and made it into audio form. Did it need to be messed around with, or was it fine the way it was?
Man, everything I do is fine the way it is. What are you
And,
talking
and that's
about?
what I thought. I think I played the beginning of it, and I was like, I
I'm
think
kidding,
it's
but
good to
yes,
go.
it is.
No, but still, like I listened to the beginning of it, and I was like, I don't think this needs to be edited at all. But yeah, if you want to play that, we can do that here to start the segment. And you still have one more break you got to hit too.
Really?
Because we go to 10:40 today. I know. That's why I said that's why I was trying to reach out to somebody.
Hate these stupid different times. I still hate the new times, and I hate the different times.
I feel
I
like
will
you've gotten
always.
used to the new times.
No, I hate them. I hate the different times, to be honest with you.
Just 'cause we
I
don't
wish.
start at a
Yes.
top of the hour.
Why don't we start the same every day? It just doesn't make sense to me.
The reason we don't is because of Don Fischer. It's the only reason we don't start at the same time on Monday.
Okay, but why don't we? No, it's not. Why don't we start at the same time on Tuesday through Friday as we do on Monday?
Because 8:30 is a normal time and 8:40 isn't.
Who
That's why.
cares?
Plus,
We're doing it on
8:40,
Mondays.
I'm already rushing to get out. I don't like 8:40. 8:40
Oh.
is pushing it. 8:30 is fine. Anyway,
All
we
right,
got 10
so
seconds.
it's 6-1. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. Relaxing Sunday. Not a lot of sports going on. Everything is, I think there was some golf going on. I did not watch that. NASCAR had that clash at the LA Coliseum, which was kind of cool. They had a bunch of grand marshals that were involved in the LA sports scene, Reggie Bush. Kareem was supposed to be out there, but he didn't feel well. So that was kind of cool. Let's see. What else did I did not watch the Pro Bowl. I stopped watching that so many years ago, and I get it. You can't play a football game like that doesn't mean anything. It's too dangerous. So there's that. Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. Who's your team, man? Who do you think's going to win? Kind of forgotten about it. Not been talking much about it. Letting it just do its deal. Mentioned earlier, Indiana women's basketball with a nice win over Purdue to pick up both of those wins over the Boilers this season, 64-57 yesterday. Big crowd out at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Of course, that's again without Mackenzie Holmes as they continue rolling on in a special season for them. So congratulations. Hope that, and how about Hillary Cardaniel or Cardaniel Hillary? What? I forget her name. She got 3 names.
Nicole Cardaniel Hillary.
Yeah. Those 3 names. You got 2.
Two first names.
You start with the first name and you end with the first name. It screws me up. But she's like 5'4". All right. She is a water gnat. Sip, 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 sip. I think she had 19 points yesterday. How does she shoot 3-pointers? She does. That's tough. Just from a strength standpoint. Gets it done. Sid jumping on. Haven't seen you for a minute with this team. They can lose talking about the men's team, any of the remaining games, they could win them all. Neither will happen. That's why it's so frustrating. That's actually the truth, though. I don't believe they can win them all because of what they've shown. They've not shown the maturity to win them all. They've shown they have the talent and the ability to win some of these games. They have not shown me that they have the ability to win them all. No, I disagree with that. I know what you're saying is talent-wise. Yeah, they have the talent-wise to match up with them because they've already beaten or should have beaten Wisconsin. They've already beaten Ohio State. But they don't have the maturity to go along with it. That's why you keep seeing these 20-minute games. That's why you saw against Michigan, the emotional drain from the Purdue win at home, even, but saw that drain yesterday. You saw them just get frustrated and not do things differently at home against the team in the second half, who just beat the living crap out of them in the second half. So no, they're not going to go to Purdue and win. They don't have the maturity to do that. That's Purdue's last regular season game of the year, senior night there. No. At Minnesota. Now, you want to see a challenge? That's going to be a challenge for Indiana. Not that Ohio State and Wisconsin at home is not. Of course those are. Those are top 10, top 15 teams. Well, of course that makes sense that it's a challenge. But when you go on the road to a place like Minnesota, Minnesota's like second worst in the league. They're 2-9 in the conference, although overall they still have a winning record. They're 6-5 at home. They have a winning record at home in the Big Ten. So it's not an easy. Hell, they're 3-4. They're better than Indiana on the road. But they've lost 4 straight. So catching them right now, and as those pile up for them, that could be a situation that it gets mentally for them. But they have to. That's a game that you can't lose tonight or tomorrow night at Northwestern. You got to go steal that game, man. You've got to show the maturity that you're a better team. Indiana is more talented. They're a better team. So they should win that game. Does that mean they're going to? Nope. Doesn't mean they are going to. They need to. And if you want to show some growth, that does that. You can't go to Northwestern and lose and say that you've grown, especially coming off of a home loss. And, that must-win tag, I hate using that, but so I'll just say they need to win this damn game. You need more road wins. You've got 2. You've only played 6 games on the road, but you've got more coming. That 13-2 home mark, yeah, it looks great, except for you're like, wow, well, they're great at home, but they're just so-so on the road. Show the maturity and the growth, and that's when you start seeing it. Now, do I expect more than them right now? Nope. I think they're on schedule. Hell, they could be ahead of schedule for that matter, for what Mike Whitson has them doing. They are currently sitting at 6th in the Big Ten. And I don't know, at the beginning of the year, everyone said, oh, they're going to be top 3. Da, da, da. And at one point I said, I think they could be top 4. And I did and do. Because as of right now, they're still only now they've gotten 3 games out of first with that loss to Illinois. But prior to that Illinois game, they were only 2 games out of first place. And they were within that realm. That's going to bounce around. But the top 6 in the Big Ten this year still is going to the tournament. I think that Indiana or the Big Ten gets at least 7 teams in. And depending on what someone like Iowa and Michigan do, because they're going to be fighting for a tournament spot. Overall, right now, Michigan's 11-9, but Iowa's 15-7. And they're 12-2 at home. Michigan's got games I think they've missed. I don't know that Michigan makes the tournament this year. Iowa, still a potential tournament team, and Indiana lost to them, so that's not going to hurt them if they make the tournament. But I think that Iowa could be that 7th team. Indiana, unless Indiana has just a complete meltdown, they're going to the NCAA tournament this season. We've talked about that schedule. They've got to get a win tomorrow night. They don't have to win at Michigan State, but we know that they can because they did it under Archie Miller. And if you can do something under Archie Miller, then you've heard the phrase, if it's easy, everybody do it. Well, but this is not, it's a different situation. Michigan State will be up for that game, but Indiana's got some tough road games left at Purdue. At Minnesota is going to be tough. At Ohio State. At Michigan State. 4 out of their last 6 games. You don't have to win them all, but you've got to win the ones that you have to win. Northwestern's a game that they need to win. I think that they need to beat Wisconsin, not to make the tournament. I think it would certainly help their psyche if they could beat a team that they had down by 22 at their own damn place in a half and let them get away. Now that's a 9:00 game on the 15th. So at home for Indiana, maybe a little bit of advantage. Wisconsin on the road for that late game. So we'll see. But I just want to see growth with the team. That's from an analyst standpoint. I want to see them grow. That Illinois game was, I don't want to say it was a step back, but it was not a step forward. And I don't know that it was a lateral step. So kind of step back when you can't play 40 minutes. And I know that there were mitigating circumstances. Trace Jackson Davis not in the game, but when he was in the game, he was very ineffective. So what was the point? What is this? Floyd Central played Cathedral in basketball? Is this Are you serious? Holy cow. How did I miss that? Man, Cathedral, one of the top. If that's, Donald, you talk about, I didn't know that Floyd, Central, and Cathedral were playing, but is that boys basketball you're telling me about? That's a gigantic win if that is the case. Can't wait to talk to Kyle Nendrip about that this week. Tebow said he'd like to see 21 or 22 wins going into the Big Ten tournament. Well, what is their record right now? Indiana's 16 wins? Yeah, 16. I don't know where in the world. Let's see. That could be 17, 18, 19. Well, it's not impossible. 22 is stretching it. 20 is very reachable. And how would that be to see Indiana with 20 wins going into the Big Ten tournament? That's reachable. At 21, starting to stretch. 22 is really starting to stretch. We'd have to see some definitive growth for them to get that. But reaching 20 wins, damn, I can't wait to talk about that one. That's going to be cool. I went to Floyd Central, guys, if you don't know already. Yeah, it's just reaching 20 wins. That's big for Indiana. Huge for Indiana. I mean, with all the change that came in, new coaching, this, that, all the complaining, they reached 20 wins in Mike Whitson's first season in this Big Ten. That's more than successful. And this probably will sound biased, and I certainly don't mean it to, because I don't ever try to be biased, but whoever wins this Big Ten season, it's going to be hard to take away Coach of the Year from them, whether it's Brad Underwood at Illinois, actually, or potentially Greg Gard at Wisconsin. It would have to be one of those two guys. Other than that, I got to go with Mike Woodson, to be honest with you. First season, coming off of what they've come off of, all of the 4 years they've come off of, and if they could get to 20 wins, especially if you could get 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament, this team could pick up great confidence. Then you go in to the NCAA tournament. You win 2 games. First of all, making the NCAA tournament is going to be special. And God, do I hate for Hoosier fans to say that, because it's disgusting to have to say that. You should never say that about a program like this. But after missing the tournament for those years, but then this is not a team that's going to be happy with just making it. They're definitely talented enough to win 2 games in this tournament. A Sweet 16 appearance would be an incredible boost for this team all the way around. Confidence-wise, program-wise, it would just be a gigantic shot in the arm. And I think it's very capable. They're very capable of accomplishing that. Of course, we got games to play, things to do before then, but looking forward to that. John, am I needing to break?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take our last break.
Okay, we got to do that just to get that last break in. Of course, this is radio. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. If you live down in the southern Indiana area, right off of I-65, fresh food every day, man. Go check it out. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this. We'll hear from Angel Shafino.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration.
I was going to remind you about that. Good call.
I'm glad you did. Did our snow melt any? Yes, it melted some. Yesterday, it got up into the 30s, and I heard stuff. All the icicles that were hanging off of the gutters, I heard them falling yesterday, and they were gone. but the snow's still out there. Yeah, it'll be gone soon enough. Yeah, Michigan has missed games. Very, yeah. 4-4 rest of the way. Absolutely. Oh,
20
yeah.
win still seems like a bubble team to me, honestly.
This Indiana is not going to be a bubble team with 20 wins. I can guarantee you that. Dude, they're by every matrix, they're a top, at worst, a top 30 team.
I'm not saying
60,
they wouldn't make it, but trying to think
they're
of what
not
seed
even,
they would get with 20 wins.
I'll tell you exactly. Well, but it's not going to be 20 wins because then you get into the Big Ten tournament.
That's true. That's true.
And if they winning a game in the Big Ten tournament, I don't know if that helps you. You might have to win 2, but they're going to get a first round bye in the Big Ten tournament. And they can work their way up to a double bye.
It also depends on how they get to 20-20. Like if they have bad losses.
Well, but if you have if you get to 20 with bad losses, then that means you've gotten there with great wins because you can't have both.
I'm trying to let me see what their last 8 games are. Well, we got
no, they only have 6 games left. I can tell you exactly what they are.
Why did somebody say 4-4?
Well, maybe counting the last 2 that they've split already.
Okay.
There's actually won 2 out of their last 3 games, but of the last 6 games, you got Northwestern, very winnable. Maryland at home, very winnable. Rutgers at home, very winnable. Okay.
There's 3.
That's 3. But now here's the issue.
They do have 8 games left, by the way.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I tried to tell you that. They have 8 games left.
All right, here we go. Coming back.
Number 1, Honda dealer.
Come see us at the
I don't know why I kept saying 6.
Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Hope you're having a great day, and we've got a bit of help to get that started, help get your week started off right. Been fun in here all day. And just looking over schedules and there are, I don't know why I had 6. I think the schedule wasn't all the way up, but 8 games. Indiana has 8 games remaining. That's a road game. 5 out of their last 8 games on the road. So that's at 16, 4 more wins get you at 20. Someone just mentioned going 4-4 gets them to 20 wins.
I think they have the ability to go 5-3 in this last stretch.
Well, it's not that they don't have the ability to do it. Of course, they have the ability, but
I mean, realistically,
you've got to show the maturity intestinal fortitude to go win at Northwestern tomorrow night. First of all, you got to go win that game. Period. All right. You got to go win that game. You've got Michigan State at home. That's a tough ass game. But you know what? You've also got Wisconsin coming in after that. So you need to go beat with Northwestern, and you got to beat one of these 2 teams. Well, you don't have to, but if you don't beat one of those teams at home, it's going to be very difficult for Indiana to go to Ohio State and win. It's going to be very difficult to go to Purdue and win, next to impossible. So yeah, you just gotta do what you got to do. And beating Northwestern on the road is one of those things I think that they need to do. But I think beating a Wisconsin or a Michigan State, actually they're at Michigan State. I don't know why I just said that. It is important as well. That's part of that maturity, man. You've got to win big games. They handled Ohio State at home, but you've got to go travel to do that. Not expected to beat them on the road. Minnesota, I keep bringing that one up because that one's another road opportunity that is still tough as nails to go to play that game. And I give them a snowball's chance in hell this season in West Lafayette because they beat Purdue, and Purdue's going to be pissed. It's the last regular game of the season. It'll be senior day, yada, yada. So they'll be so jacked up there. But it's going to be a good end of the season. Looking forward to it. And looking forward to the tournaments this year. Again, this team's going to have a complete meltdown not to make the NCAA tournament. So that's great. The Big Ten tournament is it's in Indy, I believe, right? So got that going for us, which is nice. I just meant because I don't have to travel. But it's going to be interesting to see what this team does the rest of the year. How do you respond to that Illinois game? In my opinion, Michael says, break into the top 24 and get a 6 seed at the NCAA to avoid a 1 seed round. Yes, that's definitely don't want to do that. Let's see. Tony says if they can win their home games and get 1 on the road, you're at 21s. Well, yeah, there's a myriad of ways they can do it. Jared, if you want to make money, bet your life savings on Purdue to cover against Indiana. Don't care if the spread is Purdue minus 20. It won't be that big, but I'm probably not going to disagree with that, Jared. I haven't bet for a minute, but that's but see, then again, you never know. Gosh, that makes sense. But Indiana, he thinks Indiana could beat them all if they play 40 minutes. Well, yes, but even if they played 40 minutes, don't come out flat, you need some of these other teams not to play as well, because even if Indiana plays 40 minutes, they're not better than Wisconsin playing 40 minutes strong. They're not better than Michigan State right now playing 40 minutes strong. They're not better than Purdue if Purdue plays 40 minutes strong. They're just not better than those teams at this moment. They don't have the talent that those teams have, even though they beat Purdue. Doesn't matter. They're not there talent-wise yet. They're not there offensively yet. So I that's my take on that. And this is a true issue. As Five Lefts points out, one true point guard, as you go into these end of season games, you get into the tournament, NCAA tournament, that's where this team will get into trouble, is if Xavier gets in trouble. You've got Trey Galloway trying to help out there. They're trying to bring Christian Lander along. They're not a team built on a house of cards, but because of the injury to Rob Finney and the lack of depth there, it's a little thin. Let's just say that.
Schiaffino.
Little thin. What about Schiaffino?
No, nothing. I was trying to just whisper if you wanted to do it.
Oh, yes, please. Frick, I forgot. Let's Angel Schiaffino. I forgot. Daggone. Talked to her last week, but I was down there talking to Jalen about everything. Let's hear what his mom, Angel, had to say.
Angel, another great night for Montverde Academy here, but the weekend overall, we saw 3 great games. Jalen at the point for these games and just looking like a leader out there. Even tonight when he got hurt, comes back in, big part of that. It just has to be a joy having watched that senior night this weekend, all that stuff coming to a head.
Yes, absolutely. Bittersweet, but Jalen he's a leader, he's a warrior, and he always have always just sacrificed his game for the betterment of the team, and yeah, so it's bittersweet to see it in those well, not completely in, but just here at Montverde. It's been a great 2 years.
And to watch all the kids here, and Jalen included, of course, these guys they're grown up. They are just so well spoken on the court. It's the same. You can tell the difference. They're a peg up. How proud of you are you to see him, to be there, to get there, the work that it has to take to get there?
Absolutely. He has just always put in so much work, hard work, dedication, sacrifice, you name it. He just, I'm just excited that he's, coming to a program like this. I just think it gets you, so ready for the next level, the college level. I think he's going to have just be ahead of the game than most freshmen coming in. So, to me, he's already, like a junior, senior in college, ready for pros. He's just, I'm just excited for this next chapter.
Speaking of the next chapter, going up to Bloomington, to Indiana, the staff, how's your interaction been with the staff, Mike Woodson on down?
Amazing. Communicate all the time, the family, and, I know my son's going to be in great hands.
And the turnaround that's happened with Indiana on the court. That has to be a very positive thing for you guys as well to watch that, because you've been a part of a winning program for a long time. You want to be a part of that going forward, and Indiana's got such rich history. To be a part of that has to be very special.
Absolutely, and Indiana's playing so well. Just watched them this afternoon, and it's just exciting. Mike Woodson is doing a great job, and the guys are just playing very well.
What's the thing you're looking most forward to for Jalen going to IU?
To be honest, outside of basketball, I'm just actually looking forward to Jalen to just enjoy college life, to be honest with you. I know he's not going to have too much fun. Obviously, he's a hard worker, and he puts, basketball before, a student athlete. He's a great student, and, he has dreams and goals, so he knows what he needs to do. But I'm just excited for him to just, experience college.
Thank you.
I don't like that answer.
You don't?
That was Angel Schifino. She was concerned about her answers. I said they're great. Proud of her son, obviously. But talk about an athletic family. She played college basketball. We had his uncle Drew on the other night for the postgame show, who played at West Virginia, last guy to average 20 points at West Virginia. Drew told me that, was it his brother that was drafted the NFL, I think? So the DNA runs deep into that family. And those are the types of athletes that get you back on top, man. So looking forward to that. And that's what they need. It's what I talk about when I'm not at all disparaging the team they have right now. It's you still just continue to add talent to that. Jalen Hood-Schifino, CJ Gunn. We've seen he's been his first game back this year after injury. How many did he get? 36 points, I think. He had like 18 in the fourth quarter. I was at that game. Those are the kinds of players that Mike Woodson's bringing in. And that is what's going to make it exciting when you add his defensive prowess to that. That's what will get Indiana fans back up, because they will be competing continuously at a higher level on a continued basis. So looking forward to that. It's just a hell of a lot more fun for me to do that. I got to be honest with you. It's just a lot more fun when you're covering winners, because the fans have fun. They like it a lot better, obviously. But yeah, I'm excited just being able to cover them from afar and look and seeing what's going on, the changes that are coming. I get to go see those guys play, and I know the talent that's coming. The type of people these guys are. That's another thing. The families, the Schifino family, great. The Gunn family, incredible. The Leo family that I've met, they're incredible people. All these kids on this team they're really good kids as well. It makes a gigantic difference. Intelligence, and Indiana's going to reap the benefits for that. I just hope the fans let them get there. I know that, man, any success that Indiana basketball has right now, it's like throwing chum into the water for sharks, or throwing a big old hunk of raw meat into a tiger's den. People just want it. It's been too long. I get it. They want it. They want to go to the NCAA tournament. They want wins. They want events like happened against Purdue this year, which used to be the norm. So I get it. It's a raucous environment. Hell, that Illinois environment was fun. It was raucous. I'm like, wow, it had that early feel of kind of that the Purdue game did. The students were into it. They were all down, standing up against the wall, yelling at Kofi as Kofi Coburn obliged them by coming close to the sideline. I sit in the court seats before the game, just watching warm-ups and whatnot, where on the end, Indiana warms up, and Kofi had come all the way down there. Indiana wasn't out there, but it's usually you don't see opposing players warming up, doing things that close to but he seemed to enjoy that from the IU fans. So if you ever see somebody enjoying that, it's like a Kofi Coburn, yeah, it's probably not a good idea to feed that. They may enjoy and use that to their advantage. But he is a beast. Tony says that he met Leo and Geronimo and Lander at an event this weekend. Just great young men. They're all great. They're all great guys. Yeah, Jordan is a tremendous kid. Anthony's a tremendous kid. Christian's a good kid as well. And it's important. Smart, good. It doesn't matter what you have. If it's business, if it's an athletics team, you've got to have smart, intelligent people, or things just don't work as well. That's just common sense. But you've got to be going towards a common goal with the people you want to be with. And that is a huge difference for that program right now. It has a very, very like-minded mentality from the top down. And that's not something that can be said for a few years. So let's see. We still got, 5 more minutes, John?
Yeah, give or take a few seconds, yeah.
Yeah, I'm so unused to this when we do these just different time change on Monday. I thought we were almost out of time, and I was worried about getting the clip from Mrs. Shafino in there. But glad to get to hear from her, as she is proud of Jalen Hood, Shafino, who will be up here next year. Looking forward to that, and the other recruits that are coming in. But who's going to leave? That's going to be a question. Rob Finney still has a year. Who are all? Michael Durr's got a year to come back. Trace Jackson Davis is the big. Will he or won't he? Most people think that he is gone. I just don't know right now. And it's not for me. I'm not saying that he should or shouldn't. From what I've seen, I've definitely, I try to not give opinions on that anymore, because I finally realized I'm smart enough to know that, hey, you know what? If they draft, you're ready. In their mind. Does that mean that's always what's best for you? No. What if they were wrong? I mean, go back to the Billy Bean, Moneyball, Billy Bean, who he should have went to college. He realized later, but we'll see. There's time for that to come. That all happens after the season, but there's things that go on during the season that kind of really makes you think about it. Caleb Banks, another one of those guys that are coming in. See, that's the thing, that the talent that's coming in is talented, athletic. These guys are proven. And then now you mix this with a known factor of Mike Woodson and the staff that he has. Proven. He doesn't have to win a national championship to prove he can coach. Look what the hell he's done this season. A team that was a perennial mediocre Big Ten team for the last 4 years, maybe 5. He has them not fighting for a Big Ten title right now, but they're a step off of that. They can battle with those teams that are battling for the Big Ten title right now already. So that to me is a huge difference. That's the progress that you were looking for, man. Another great fun day. Don Fischer, of course, always makes it special. Charlie Miller, great to have him along as always. Looking forward to him getting off of his teaching job so he can come back with us more frequently. Dustin Dopirak from the Bloomington Herald, of course, just an absolute great Monday. Jim Reamer will be back with us next week. Great to hear from Angel Schifino and Woody and Race. We will hear from Trey Galloway tomorrow as Indiana takes on Northwestern tomorrow night. Hope you go out and have yourselves a great day. Thanks to all these people. Thanks to John, the producer. Most importantly, thanks to you all. Without you, we have no reason to be here. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.